Welcome to FCC Supporters Square. For fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Mark Shipman and Matt Foreman.
Good.
Hey, everybody, get out of here. I'm walking here. Wait, am I from New York? Am I having a stroke? No, I am Matt Warman from FCC's Supporters Square, and it's no an SG. This time it's an SG that's not in Cincinnati. Wait, what? There's things like that? Yes, there are. It is Auxilia 1. I have Mike Breese, and I'm sorry if I'm blanking because I've been running around. Mike Sauce and Eric Breese. There we go. I got it right. And then you guys can fix me as we move along. So say hi to everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it
There
going?
you go. So before we jump into our fun No and SG stuff, there was very little news, but it looks like Alvaro Barriel is going to stay with the team at least for a little while. Let's see how we think about that. And there were some kit leaks, and it looks like finally FC Cincinnati had their kit kind of leaked. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit as well. Mike, what is your thoughts on Alvaro Barriel staying with us for a while?
Look, I absolutely adore Barrial. He's just super dynamic. And let's be honest. The main reason we all love Barrial is he's got the best thighs in the whole game. So there's going to be more of the hiking up of the shorts and giant kicks from the wing. I just think he's a terrific player, and I think that any young guy like that you can keep around is just huge for the organization.
Eric, do you think that's going to be a detraction? Is he going to be like Brenner and whine about it until the summertime, or will he score 30 goals and show Europe what they're missing?
No, I think he's going to show Europe what they're missing. And I think additionally, there have been so many changes in the offseason, but ultimately this team has proven its ability to perform regardless of who's available. We saw that last year, winning the Supporter Shield, even with a number of vacancies at the end of the season for reasons we can talk about if we want to. I have no worries about his performance, and I also don't have any worries about any of the roster changes in the last couple of months.
Yeah, there's been a lot of change. Are we happy with no more signings? I mean, we did sign Miles Robinson, we did sign Corey Baird. They both were starting in today's preseason. Boop had a brace last I checked. He could have scored more because I was busy after I got some updates. But are we happy with how the roster stands right now?
Mike?
Anybody?
I'm satisfied. I mean, I will say that as a fan, I'm a little less attuned into terms of the strategy and that aspect of diagnosing things. But I think that the core of what we have is really special, and I think that particularly with Robinson, I think we just nailed it out of the park with that signing. From what I've gathered from everybody and just what is said around the league about him. So I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm just really excited to see what our coach can really mold with these guys, see how they fit in.
I mean, we're missing two wing backs, or maybe one, but we don't have Gab Badgie, we don't have Gaddis, I don't think. I know we don't have Arias because he signed away.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a change in formation? I don't know if you guys are huge. You said you're not a tactician, but Eric, do you think that's going to be a forward back, or do you think there's going to be the young guys playing wing backs?
I see the young guys playing wingback. I think what we've seen historically is that Pat Noonan knows how to work with the pieces that he has on the field. So I have no concern about putting some young guys back there, helping them develop a little bit. this club has performed very, very well and accelerated extremely quickly into playing very well. And I think we also see with the Robinson signing, the front office knows what they're doing too in a way that they used to not. Not to criticize anyone who's no longer with the club, but that's just the case. And so I think you elevate certain positions on the field, and then what you end up at the back is the ability to put some young players in the wing back, see how they're going to develop, build a team
But
around.
it turns out that the previous GM was right. It only did take 3 or 4 transfer windows to become really good. It just we had to get rid of the GM in order to get to those 3 windows to get really good.
Yeah, yeah, it is ironic that that is correct.
But at the time, I don't think we were patient enough to deal with that, and I don't think that that administration knew what they were doing in the MLS. I think they knew what they're doing, just not with how the rules work. I mean, you look at Albright. I mean, he's gotten less like $1.5 million in GAM just by allocation slots and international spots that are just not being used and can be passed on to somebody else just so we can get bigger and better players. So it's nice. Well, since there's really not much going on, I know there's the kit review. Have you guys seen the kit review?
I've seen the a very fuzzy digital image from what appears to be a video game. I'll say what I said in the Aux One Discord the other day. If that's I'm gonna need to see an actual like human being wearing it and with like high definition. If it is what that looks like, I'm not jazzed about it. I'm a big fan of like I don't know. I just feel like the last 2 kits have been, or the last kit, and then whatever this one's going to be, just seems they just seem like duds to me. Like I thought the orange kit was very great. I would like to see them do something with orange with the white, or even like a little bit of blue with the white. But like I don't know, it just seems a little cookie cutter. Like there's just too much cookie cutting going on.
I did see some tartan on there that which looks very much like what we have at the brigade.
Mhm.
So I'm mildly excited about that. I believe I'm going to be at the release party in a couple of weeks, so hopefully I'll see it up close and personal. I thought the orange jersey was my favorite jersey. I've been wearing it a lot for the last
Yeah.
2 years, and somebody mentioned maybe an homage to the USL days with an orange and white, uh, orange with a white hoop of some sort.
Mhm.
That could have been pretty cool. But Adidas I think has more say in what's going on than what we humans. Uh, they did this 4 years ago, and this is what you're going to get. So, but I think we're close to getting a third kit. So hopefully a third kit will be an orange kit of some sort. But I don't know anything about that. I'm not as much plugged in.
I would love some more orange in the kit.
Yeah.
If anything, my issue with what we saw, and it does seem like that was an away kit. So hopefully we can make some assumptions that the home kit would be a little bit more pop to it. But my personal favorite is from 2 seasons ago with this sort of darker hue of blue with the orange highlights. I loved that one. The river kit is a nice attempt at an homage to the city, but I frankly felt it kind of missed the mark. I hate speaking ill, but it always looked to me a little bit like an Aquafina ad or something, the way the water comes across the front of it. I was like, I'm not sure we'll pick it up. And as much as I love the city of Cincinnati, I think we all know the river usually doesn't look blue anyways. So
Well, I would say this about that kit because I that's the one kit I haven't bought yet. I'll buy it. I'll eventually buy it. I'm waiting for it to go on sale or whatnot. But it reminded me like it was just a blue jersey, but they put a watermark and they just forgot to get rid of the watermark. Literally the watermark on there. So it's really just a watermark shirt. It
yeah,
wasn't supposed to be that way. And they're like, oh, we forgot. Oh well, we'll just roll with it.
someone didn't hit delete.
Exactly. Somebody forgot to take out a layer in Photoshop.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I do like the brighter blue that it has. I'll say that much.
yeah,
That's
it
true.
was. I did not like the half dark, half royal. I thought it was confusing. I was but everybody has a favorite, and that's the best part about kids is that wait a year, you're going to get another one. So
100%.
so okay, Auxilia won. You guys are an FCC supporter square favorite, an FC supporter group from New York, and you guys are from like the USL days. So tell me how with the Red Bulls and then NYCFC, the Pigeons, with all of that soccer around you, you decided to eschew those guys and go with a winner.
Well, I don't know about Eric in terms of his main motivations for joining, but to me, it's just like I've tried to root for New York teams while I'm here. And I've been here since 2011. And like, I remember like, oh, I'll try to adopt the Jets as my like other team. And like, my heart's just completely not in it. Like, I'll go to a Mets game and like root for them or whatever, but it's like, it's that night. Like, there's something about being from Cincinnati and having that tie back home, even though I, haven't lived there in like 14 years now almost. And it was just a really great way of like kind of rediscovering like the love for the game for because I played soccer as a kid up until from like 6 to like 12 or something, and it was all say leagues. I wasn't like in any sort of travel teams or anything like that. But for me, it was like finding some other Cincinnati people, and finding people who really like enjoy spending time together. The people in Ox One are just some of the best people I know, and it's just one of those communities that is just really supportive and really fun to be around. And it gets wild at our matches and in the supporter section, and it's just a really great group of people, and that's just kind of what drew me to the group because I jumped in. I think maybe half a season in or a whole season in. I just kind of found it, I think, on Reddit maybe. But yeah, just an absolute, just great, great hang, really.
So when did they start? Was that like 2017? Because I know it was the USL because there's a famous happening at the Red Bull 2 game with one of our DI supporters after we scored a goal, telling you yeah, he was number one exactly.
It's great. It was a
That
great. That's
that
a
that
great gift.
iconic. And so I know he was sitting with you guys when that
I,
happened.
I
So
I think I'm like right next to him in that gift, just looking around like a like adult. Um, but that game to me was like that's when like I really like just completely like got sucked in by the whole thing because it was like we're basically at the midfield line and we're 2 rows from the players, if not like front row, and like all I did the whole game was just talk trash at any player that was like near me. I was like making fun of their haircuts and like I was able to make some of them laugh, which was really like my pride and joy. But yeah, that was to me the first time I had gone to an FC game, and it was just addicting.
but you, how did you get involved in all this?
My story is a little bit more complex and honestly kind of strange,
I love Strange.
which is that I'm from Rochester, New York originally. I lived in New York. I moved from New York City to Chicago last spring, which is where I'm talking to you now from. But in the fall of, I want to say 2021, I was in Cincinnati. I was doing the Red Leg Run. I'd flown out to do that for charity and was having a good time. And FC was in town. And at the time, I was not a soccer fan whatsoever. I didn't follow the sport, but I knew that FC was a club. They weren't really performing well, but I was like, I'll go. Like, let's get the great new stadium. I'll go. And it was an awesome experience. And I sat in the Bailey. I had an absolute blast. I went alone still, and I was like, this is an awesome group of people. I think the other really cool thing for me was I have been to innumerable Red games. I couldn't tell you. I now live a couple blocks from Wrigley, and I make all of my friends come to all of the games when they're here playing. Even if I'm not respected by the hometown. but I've never had such an environment like TQL, where it's incredibly welcoming, incredibly diverse. The passion for the game is really there the entire 90 minutes of play, and that's just wild to me. And I was quickly hooked. And I want to say early the next summer, I was at a baseball game with my boyfriend, and the Reds were in New York, and we went to Yankee Stadium and sitting up there, and I hear this guy behind me do this spot on Jeff Brantley impression. And I turn around and it's Mike, and he's sitting with all these guys. And so I start talking, and we hit it off. I'm like, oh, Reds fans, all from Cincinnati. This is really cool. And I was like, oh, by the way, do you guys watch FC Cincinnati? And they're like, ah, boy, have you hit the jackpot. So I immediately started hanging out with everybody and going to banter in Brooklyn to watch the matches together. And it was such a welcoming and awesome experience. I'm not a Cincinnatian myself, but I was raised a Reds fan. And it was the one family trip we went on every year. That was the only one we did, was we went to Cincinnati for a week and watched Reds games. And so Cincinnati sports has a really special place in my heart. And so being welcomed by these guys was awesome. And I'm sad Mitch can't be with us, because I think he really embodies that, just the welcoming nature, the passion for the game, but the passion for everybody like coming around the same thing is incredibly noticeable through everything. And I mean, my favorite experience was going out to Harrison for the Red Bulls match in the postseason 2 seasons ago. Was just an awesome experience. I mean, you can look at footage from the match, and the place is like pretty empty except for the away supporters section, which is packed with us making the most noise. It was awesome.
And yeah, I think you willed them to win. We needed
Yeah,
that.
I think
The
so.
first playoff win. It's even in the USL days, we weren't very good postseason. But thank you for that. Thank you for your service.
Happy to help.
So, so where is now? Both of my kids have been living in New York for about the same amount of time you have, Mike. One lives in Brooklyn, Park Slope, and one lives up in the Heights. But I think
Nice.
she's going to be moving to Brooklyn as well.
Oh, no.
Where is Banter? So for people who don't know, Brooklyn is not part of Manhattan, but it is a very big place. It is not a small town. It is not a few blocks. It is a huge place. So Brooklyn runs on the other side of the bridge from Manhattan Island, and goes pretty far south, and then goes into Long Island and some other stuff. But so where is Banter in Brooklyn?
Yeah, Banter is in this area called Williamsburg, which is one of the first, like, when you're traveling from Manhattan, the way anyone gets to Williamsburg is the L train, which is full of just wonderful casts of characters. And it's the very first stop inside the L train at Bedford Avenue, and you hop off, and then it's like it's a probably about a 10-12 minute walk from the subway, but it's still Williamsburg is the neighborhood. And you actually pass a Roebling Street on the way, which is kind of cool. So a little Cincinnati connection there. But yeah, it's just a very, very it's got a very well earned reputation as being the hipster capital of the city. But it's a great place. There's insane food, just a lot of concert venues, and Williamsburg is a really really fun place, and it's got banter. So
The big restaurant I remember there, it was by a chocolate shop, was Radagast, which was like German sausages. That was really nice. That was the only place I know in Williamsburg. I don't know. My daughter works at the Widow Jane, which is further south by the Key Lime Pie and Brooklyn Lager. Yeah. So if you like bourbon, go to Widow Jane. That you don't have to be from New York, but if you're in the New York area and you're looking for bourbon, they have it.
Oh yeah, big Widow Jane fan.
So now that you're in Chicago, what are you going to create your own sub Auxilia too? Are you gonna? Because I know there's a lot of natives. There are so many people from Cincinnati and New York. You would not believe. I had both of my kids and like 5 of my nephews and nieces living in New York at one time. Several have moved to LA for work reasons, but I mean, and they tell me all the time that there's tons of people there from Cincinnati in New York. There's some kind of sisterhood there. In Chicago, I think there's a fair amount of people there as well. Have you tried to recruit some other Cincinnatians and have a go at it?
I have joked with Mitch about that, but I will say, I'll make my public call now on this recording that any other folks in the Chicago area who want to watch FC Cincinnati with me, please let me know, because I'm always looking for people. And I would say I go now. Another bar plug is AJ Hudson's on Ashland, in Lakeview-ish. They're great at putting on MLS games in the face of all the other things that people want to watch on sports TV these days. They're an awesome place to go. And I have run into a couple people here or there who also happen to be there to watch FC, which always feels great, but always looking for more people. And I will say too, on March 2nd, I've got a group of folks and we're some friends that I'm trying to indoctrinate to go to the Chicago Fire match, and I'll make them FC fans.
I may have to get you in touch with Dustin Peters, because I know for a fact that he is going, because he was sending me a picture of a 15-seat van and some Airbnb or something. So I know he's getting the group together. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to make that match. I don't know. I talked to the wife and as per, this is how it works. It's like, hey, you want to go to the Chicago match? When is it? March 2nd. No, I don't want to go to Chicago in March. Early March. No. We went to Austin with the hopes of it being 80 degrees, and it was 37 degrees and snow and sleet blowing sideways. So if we can't get good weather in Austin in February, I don't think we're going to get good weather in Chicago in March, early March.
You never know. I also struck out on getting some folks to come out and watch it here. Same reason, but who knows? In Chicago in March, it could be either 70 degrees or it could be 7. But we'll see.
I might have to make a trip out there for it because that's my birthday. So I totally missed that on the schedule. But yeah, I may have to come out for it.
Well, you may have a place to stay.
I think you do.
That's the big.
This office has a bed.
Hey.
There you go. If apartments in Chicago are bigger than apartments in New York.
That is true.
They are.
The apartments in New York are really just closets. If you get more than 2 rooms in your apartment, you're really doing well in New York, as far as from what I've noticed. Well, unless you've got three bedrooms with 6 roommates or something like that. So it's always kind of fun that way. So I really want to know, since you guys are from afar, you guys aren't into the SG. I don't want to say politics, because we're really not a political group of people, like I've heard in other fan bases having problems with their supporter groups. But from a distance, you're not really affiliated with everybody. You're always kind of there when the road games are in New York, and if you're obviously for New York, there's going to be 2 road games. In Chicago, there's going to be 1. How does it feel being a supporter from 1,000 miles away, or probably less, but as opposed to being in the city day in and day and out and seeing the same groups of people? How does that affect your fandom?
You want to go answer that first, Eric?
Sure. Having always been a Cincinnati sports fan, but not being from Cincinnati and not having lived there at any point in my life, it's not necessarily a new dynamic for me to experience. I think that by and large, support for the club, an appreciation or love for the city, bring people enough together that, it makes it awesome to see someone on the street wearing the same kit. Or, if I see someone with a Reds hat, it's less exciting now that I live in the Midwest. But New York, that was always very exciting. And I think ultimately that's the feeling that I value the most. And I am sure that it exists, and I'm jealous of what it must be like to go to the match every time they play at home and have the same interactions, or have awesome interactions with a lot of the same people, and get to develop relationships, frankly, in a lot of the same way that we did in Auxilia 1, and the relationships and friendships we built there, but on a larger scale. I'm sure that's amazing, and I'm a little jealous of it, but I'm also very, very happy with the experience I've had. And I think that supporting a team, even from afar, has a lot of benefits and brings a lot of joy.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of cool to be like the host. When people come in, and being the supporters group that people kind of rally around and look to for, for the bar beforehand and the march over. What's really great, that Mitch always hooks up is, usually we meet up at Carragher's bar in the financial district, which is the Liverpool bar, and then we march from that bar to the World Trade Center Path Station, and we're yelling and screaming and chanting and giving people, like, I've been to a couple of matches in Cincinnati and done a couple of the marches, and like to even have our own little like 40-person march, like it's just super fun. And like the second we get inside of the giant shopping mall that is where the Path Station is, and like we start doing our chants and our songs, and just everybody in the place is like, who are these people? And we're like screaming at the top of our lungs, like, that everybody hates us. And New Yorkers are probably just standing there like, oh, what are these people? What are their problems? It's really fun. And then we get on the subway, and then every poor Path rider is just like, oh my God, let it end. The four Red Bulls fans are like, there's more of them. So it's just really cool to be that host, and help just on that like one sliver of a day. It's like we get to be the leaders of the group, and it's just a really special experience. I think every time we go to a match, whether it's for 30 other people that are seeing the US Open Cup at Red Bull Arena, and they've shut down every concession stand except for two, and like all you can order is fries and chicken tenders, and that's it. And it's just really sad, but you get to have a lot of fun because the people you're with are just the best.
That's one of my, it's like kind of on my bucket list, is that I have two children who live in New York, so I have places to stay. It's just it always seems to happen when something else is going on. I can't quite make it because of work or some other event that is coming up. I'm hoping one time to come up, because I do. I know people that have gone to New York. They like driving there. They like going to the city. They definitely love you guys. I have both of your scarves, so I do try to support you guys as often as possible. And that's something I really want to do. I know that you guys came in late last year. Did anybody make it to the playoff game? Any of the playoff games, or was that just a late season? Because you're always welcome at the Brigade. I know you guys are welcome everywhere, but did you? What games did you go to last season?
See, I was at the Red Bulls match in the regular season, the Red Bulls match in the playoffs, and did I go to the NYCFC one this year? I think I might have had something. Or no, I was there. Oh yeah, that's right, because there were people that were throwing things on us from the section above, which was super awesome. Which is like they were like right next to Birding's suite. So it's very weird that people are throwing things at us. It's because we were kicking their butts. Yeah, I think I was at 3 matches last year. I wasn't able to get to a home match. Every time I go home, like I was literally looking at the schedule yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, my cousin's wedding's in September. I bet there's an FC game that weekend, and there is the same night as our wedding. So not gonna
Well,
happen.
decisions. You can always show up after the game and at the reception, and
Just
yeah, because I think one of my fellow supporters, my co-host, the part-time co-host, he got married during a road match, so we were at the wedding, but we were still keeping tabs on what was going on in the game. So that's fun. Did you make any home matches this year?
I did, yeah. I went. I saw one in May on my birthday. The DC United match which was an awesome experience. I went again in June for Pride Night, which was done really, really well. I had an awesome time at that match. And I went to one in September. The opponent is escaping me at the moment. But yeah, I got to 3 matches last year, and I hope to get close to that number this year. I've already got the fire match on the schedule. I've got one in July. I forget which one, and then I'll find a third or fourth. I always find a way.
Well, my birthday is also in May, and it's actually on my birthday, which happens to be a Wednesday game on my birthday. So when I
Works out.
yeah, I thought, geez, Wednesday birthdays are the worst. You know, it's the weekend before, the weekend after, and it's kind of a big birthday. I'm not going to talk about how old I am or whatnot, but it's not young. But that should be kind of interesting. It'll be the second time actually I've gone to a match on my birthday. Has anybody else gone? You said you did. Did you go to a birthday match?
I don't believe I have. I think I did. I think I was at Banter one year for a match that was on my birthday, or it was like the day before or day after, something like that. But no, unless I fly out to Chicago for the second, who knows?
There you go. I think that might be because your beer is free. Think about that. Think about how much money you're going to save just flying to Chicago for a weekend. And
That is
hey, it's
all
my
the-
birthday. It's like, wait, you flew in from New York on your birthday for this? How many beers do you want?
Old style, and my lord. That's all you need, right?
It keeps you warm, that's for sure.
It keeps you something.
It's because it's literally antifreeze. That's why.
Yes.
Well, we're just about running out of time. I want to thank you guys. This is a very unique perspective. People don't know that we have SGs outside of FC Cincinnati, outside of Cincinnati proper. It always blows me away when I see, you know, a supporter group in Ghana. There's a French supporter group. I think there's a British supporter group as well. It's like, you guys, how did you guys find us? It's amazing how the global reach of things, and how Cincinnati, and I think the people have a reputation of, hey, we love to have you in. Come on in. We're going to show you a good time. And you're when you show up at either Teakle or Banter or Harrison, New Jersey, or some baseball stadium. If you're with FCC fans, you're going to have a really good time, and I think that's what we're hearing from you guys.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Well, that's about all the time we have here at FCC Supporter Square. I'll remember my name. I am Matt Warman, and we'll see you next week with one more or two, maybe, additional episodes of No and SG before we get right back in fast and furious into matches and interviews. So I will see you next week. Thanks. Thank you for listening to FCC Supporter Square. Your hosts are Mark Shupin and Matt Warman. If you'd like to be a guest, please contact us at fcc.supp.square@gmail.com. The intro song was Living Inside My Brain by the Stone Buttons. The exit song was Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Buttons. Thank you for listening.